The ABCs of Women's History is an inspirational picture book that introduces children to trailblazing women from the past and the present. Hi, I'm Dan Skinner, and welcome to the Kids Bookshelf. Ahead, we'll explore the book and talk about the inspiration behind it with Lauren Semmer, who created the book along with Rio Cortez. Lauren Semmer is an artist, children's book illustrator, and designer. She previously collaborated with Rio Cortez to create the ABCs of Black History. They've teamed up again to create the picture book, the ABCs of Women's History. Lauren, welcome to the Kids Bookshelf.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
This is the second book that you and Rio Cortez have produced together. How did the two of you get connected up for these books?
So we were brought together by our editor on the ABCs of Black History, Tracy Todd. She approached Rio to write a poem about Black history, and they approached me to make the art for it. So we became connected through our publisher, Workman Kids, and that's how we got to do the ABCs of Black History, and that's how we're to know each other now to do this next book.
Well, tell us a little bit about your co-creator, Rio Cortez.
Rio is a poet. She writes poetry. She writes adult poetry and children's poetry. She has a couple of children's books out. The ABCs of Black History was both of our first storybook. But since then, she's gone on to also make more storybooks. So that's kind of a little bit about what she does.
Well, tell us about this book now. What are young readers going to find here?
Well, this is an ABC book about women's history, and through each page, you're going to find a letter, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. So you're going to have themes, ideas, individuals who have helped shape women's history. We explored so many different ideas here. Also, contributions of women to our shared history. A is for a new artist and activists. B is for bookish and brilliant. So lots of really great themes and wonderful vocabulary to learn and talk about. And I hope each page sparks conversations between the reader and the children.
There are many women featured in this book. How was it decided which women to include?
It's really, really hard because you can't include every woman in every contribution. So Rio wrote the text. It's a poem. So I received that. I had some ideas of some people she wanted to include. And then my goal was to take her ideas, her words, and some of the individuals, and then to build a story and a world around them. So, for example, D is for dreaming, which is about artists and women artists and our vision of the world and how we look at things and our contributions to the arts. So with that, we knew we wanted to include Alma Thomas, who is a Black visual artist. She's actually the first graduate from Howard University's art department, which is a pretty cool thing. We've got Frida Kahlo, we've got George O'Keeffe. But from there, I was like, how do we get more artists in here? Because we're underrepresented, in the art world as it is. So I thought, well, what about a gallery? So we made, I drew a beautiful gallery with, I featured all these different artists in it. And then I had children and families, checking out the art. So we were able to get in some more people that way. So it's kind of, we have our main, individuals, but then building, a world around them on each spread.
Now, this is a picture book. So for what age would you recommend the book?
Well, I think officially it's 4 to 8, but I honestly think it's, 5 and up. But I think that even, young children can enjoy a page or two, and it can be a place to start. I know some families with our past book, the ABCs of Black History, would read a spread and then talk about it, and then, maybe look up some information about it and then do another spread another night. So there's lots of ways to read the book. You don't have to read it from, start to finish, but you can also just pick up a page or, during, if you have a question, we have a really beautiful back matter that goes deeper on each spread. So you can start with the spread and then go and learn a little bit more in the back as well.
I'm talking with Lauren Semmer about the ABCs of women's history, and our conversation will continue. If you're enjoying this discussion, please subscribe, like, and click on the bell so you know when I post new interviews. And thank you. Now, I know Rio wrote the text, but obviously in a picture book, that's just half of the book. The illustrations tell a story of their own in many ways and flesh out that story. And where I'm going with this is that with young children, usually it's an adult that's reading to the child. And I'm wondering if you keep that adult audience in mind as well when you're illustrating the book.
A little bit, I think definitely. I think it's never lost on me that, it's a intergenerational experience reading one of these books. You have somebody who is bringing some knowledge already to it, people who are learning. So we're all learning together, kind of a thing. So I definitely think about the audience, but it is really created for children. We have lots of children featured in the book, and so I do think about it, but I really, my goal is for children to be able to look at the images and to take something away from it along with the text.
So, Lauren, would you read a portion of the book for us to give us a flavor of what readers are going to find here?
I'd love to. I'm going to pick D is for dreaming. D is for dreaming, out loud and in color, like the artist whose work helps us discover. There are new ways of seeing, more than one way to be. We can imagine a world beyond you and me. Alma Thomas's patterns, Frida Kahlo's reflections, and Georgia O'Keeffe's florals teach us beautiful lessons. On canvases, in photographs, sculpted or drawn, art is what ensures the artist lives on and challenges each of us to create new dawns.
These are important women in history and also present day. It's a mixture of women across the ages. Why was it important for you and Rio to introduce children to these significant women at an early age?
I think, if I'm being honest, maybe it's even a little selfish. I think back to when I was a little girl and how, the experience of getting to read a book like this would be like. There just wasn't that many books like this book or other books that are out today that feature, groups of women doing amazing things. There just wasn't that many. So, I think a big part of it is just, doing it for the joy of being able to learn about these women. And, you take a little bit of their lessons with you and you leave. And you learn that all these women were children once, and just like you were, and they can grow up to do things that they're passionate about. So can you.
So is that part of the message you hope kids are going to take from the book? You're not only learning about these significant women, but also it's inspirational?
Definitely. I hope it's inspirational. I hope it helps them realize that they're a part of history. They're making history. Their lives matter. And what they do matters. And, they carry this on. This is their story.
How would you describe your illustration style?
I think that's a great question. I colorful, bright, but also I think direct. And I hope that my work doesn't, I hope my work empowers children. I always include kids in my work. But I hope it doesn't underestimate how intelligent they are. I love to draw connections and, from one idea to the next. I hope it just inspires them in ways to make their own art or to do things that they're passionate about.
Do you feel like this is a time when we particularly need that inspiration and we particularly need to draw attention to the contributions of women?
100%. I think we really do. This is a time, I think, when we need to lean into these stories, and learn from them so that we can make informed decisions in the future. I hope that, people dig into all the different ideas and themes and people here, because there's so much we can learn from them about how we can handle what's going to happen next in our lives.
You've illustrated a number of children's books. and written your own. What is it you enjoy about creating books for children?
I love, it's a wonderful question. I love tapping into that part of myself as a young person, in making stories for her. You know, when I was a little girl making stories I would have wanted to see on my bookshelf. And I love children's curiosity. They're so creative. They have so many great ideas. When you just sit and talk to them, reading to them is just such a joy. One of my favorite things is to get to go and do a reading of a book that it's just such a wonderful experience, and the questions they have and sometimes the challenges you get from them. They're a great audience. They're one of my favorite group of people. So it's just really fun to get to make art for them and to see what they think about it too.
So this is the second book that you've done with Rio Cortez. Are we going to see more ABC books in the future?
It's a wonderful question. I hope that there's more ABC books. For right now, we're pretty focused on this one. It takes about 2 years to put one together, so it's pretty exciting to have this one out in the world. But I sure hope that there'll be more ABC books coming in the future.
Now, you mentioned how long it took to put this book together. I think a lot of people look at a picture book and think, oh, that must be simple. You know, it's easy to write, it's easy to illustrate, but it's not. It's much more challenging than I think people realize.
Yeah, I think there's this idea that writing for children was easy. It's just, well, you just say this and this, and it's not. It's actually, you have fewer words. You know, you have to really rely on, the images to help tell the story, and it has to engage them. They have to be interested in it too. It has to be something that they relate to. So it poses its challenges, but they're fun challenges. And it takes time. There's sketches, there's more sketches, then there's color, then there's more color, then there's, oh, we forgot this, or oh, we need to add this, or you look at proofs and then you see a little mistake, you got to go back and fix it. There's lots and lots and lots of stages till you get the finished book in your hand, which is a really fun feeling, I'll have to say.
The picture book is The ABCs of Women's History, written by Rio Cortez and illustrated by Lauren Semmer. Lauren, thank you for talking with me today.
I'm so glad I was able to. Thank you so much for having me.
If you'd like to purchase The ABCs of Women's History, I've placed a link for you in the description below. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, like, and click on the bell so you know when I post new interviews. Meanwhile, here are 2 more books you might find interesting. Thank you for watching this edition of the Kids Bookshelf. I'm Dan Skinner. Until next time, keep sharing the gift of reading.